What's up, Mr. fucking Desert Dime?
What is going on, guys, and welcome back to a video that I have been waiting to do for so long, a video that I've been dreaming about for years, and the day is finally here. As you can see behind me, my truck is inside of a very shadowy garage. We are at KDM Fabrication in Anaheim today because I'm finally getting my shock relocation kit installed. Ever since I was younger, right when I first got this truck, probably 4 years ago, I saw this guy on YouTube who had a shock relocation hoop, but I think it was like the Total Chaos, like tubed one. And I was like, dude, that is so gnarly that you could fit that big of a shock in the back of a Tacoma without cutting through the bed. And here we are 4 years later, and I'm actually doing it. Actually, I'm not doing it. Sean and Gary from KDM Fab are working on my truck. Let me introduce you guys to Gary, the owner and founder of KDM Fab. But before I do, I want to remind you that we are shooting for 1,000 subscribers. So go ahead and subscribe. Tell all your friends, tell all your family. If you're into off-roading or Tacomas or anything of that sort, go ahead and subscribe because we have a lot of content coming out around this whole project. I just released probably two or three videos of brake work being done before it came in here. Now that the brake work's done, we're having the kit installed. Once the kit's installed, we're gonna be reviewing the kit, we're gonna be checking out the kit. We just have a lot of stuff coming, guys, so go ahead and subscribe. And now let me introduce you guys to Gary. All right, guys, I have Gary here, who's the owner and founder of KDM. You wanna introduce yourself a little bit?
Hey guys, my name is Gary Winkler. I am the owner of KDM Fab, located over here in Anaheim. We've been here for about roughly 5 years now. We've done tons of trucks here already. We primarily deal with Silverados, but every once in a while we like to work on a Tacoma.
So they are the shop that built Cole's Silverado. He's gonna be here in a second to pick me up, but that's how I got reference to them, through Cole. I saw the work they did on Cole's truck and it is just beautiful. They also, as you can see, they got Silverados kind of everywhere, but making sort of an exception for Tacoma every once in a while.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're fun to work on. You know, I think the quickest turnaround time we've ever had for the Tacoma this year, we actually threw on a BTF long travel kit in about 3 to 4 days.
Okay.
So that was coming completely stock, leaving with long travel with the front bumper and fiberglass. So
Nice.
these are definitely a lot of fun to work with. You know, it's easy to upgrade them.
And I have to say, your pricing by far was the best out of any quote I ever got. I don't know if I told you when we were messaging, but like there are places I were charging like outrageous amounts for these.
Well, I mean, we definitely try to help out our clients and make sure that they're taken care of, and also provide quality work to everybody that comes through our doors.
I know you said you do primarily Silverados. Is that because of kind of like what you started out doing or what you know the best?
That was basically my first full-size truck. It was a 2001 Chevy Silverado. I loved the thing, and it was kind of a guinea pig for me. So a lot of work went into it, mostly front bumpers. I didn't like the first one, cut it off, made another one, didn't like that one, and then finally I settled on the third one. And ever since, I've just been in love with this industry, and I've had the opportunity of working with like a lot of great companies, LSK, Dirt King, CWF. I'm still a dealer for quite a few of them. So it's been great, like making all these connections in the industry.
All right, man. Well, let's get in there. Let's talk about the kit. Let's see the kit, and let's get some work done. guys, it might be kind of hard to hear me in here, but what we have right here is the official kit that's going on. This is the Archive Garage shock relocation kit that is going to be going stuffed up in the wheel well, allowing us to run a much larger shock than stock. So right here we have the towers and the lower mounts that are going on the axle for the lower mounting points, all the hardware. We have wheel spaces because it's recommended to run them, because with all this extra flex, the tire is going to hit the shock shaft. But I might see if I could try to bypass using these. And over here we have my shocks. So this kit allows you to run either a 2.0 or a 2.5 in either a 12-inch or a 14-inch shock. So what I have here is a 2.5 and a 12-inch, mainly because I didn't think I was going to use all 14 inches if I ran that route. So I just stuck with the 12 because I don't think I'm going to need much more than that. And 2.5s just because, you know, 2.5s. They have the remote reservoirs, they have the adjusters, which I didn't go for on the last time around I did a shock setup. So I'm glad I did it this time. And they are tuned by AccuTune, as you can see sticking out there. Also with this kit, you can run a bypass, but again, it just didn't seem like it's something I needed. I don't think I'm gonna be doing off-roading to the extent where I need bypass in the rear. Maybe in the future I'll switch the setup. The kit's already mounted in, all I would have to do is swap out the shocks. But for now, we're running with a 2.5 by 12. Again, I don't know if you guys can hear, but essentially what they're doing on the other side is they're plasma cutting off the old shock hoop, because that needs to get out of the way. Once that's out of the way, they can mount in the new one, which is going to go all the way up as high as it can go in here, weld in with a new shock mounting point down below as well. So we got to get that one out of the way first before we could do anything, and they have to cut off the bottom one. My Uber has arrived. Uber for Jacob?
What's that?
Uber for Jacob?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. What's up, man?
How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Well, I've recorded as much as I could on the truck before it's become sort of a liability for them to have me in there. And now I have my sexy Uber here with the nice rack. Yeah! Nice rack! Wait, show us the rack, show us the rack. Show us the, hey, yo, hey! You wanna go get some breakfast?
Sure.
I'll copy some breakfast for picking me up, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll catch up with this truck. They said it should be done tomorrow. So we'll be back tomorrow and see the final work and drive her home.
The next day.
All right, guys, we are back at KDM Fab. It is the next day. I dropped it off yesterday morning. We're already here. It's already done and it's complete and it looks beautiful. But before we take a look at it and see everything that's done, I just wanted to ask you, as far as the product goes, I mean, obviously the install probably wasn't too bad if it was 2 days, but the product itself, how they ship it over to you and everything, how was it installing this specific product?
Honestly, it's a great product. I don't see anything wrong with it. I probably would have gone a little bit lighter on the powder coating, because as far as welding on it, I mean, it's kind of hard to get through it. So we did a little bit of prep work, but besides that, I mean, the instructions were really clear, pretty straightforward. It helps if you have an engine hoist to lift up the bed, made it easier to lift the bed to 360 weld it. But all in all, it was pretty straightforward. So just properly cycle everything, make sure everything clears as far as setting up your shock mounts, and you're good to go.
And then you said you guys drooped it out and you got it to about 10 inches
It was about 10 1/4
of shock shaft.
Yeah, shock shaft showing.
Out of the 12 that's there. So
Yeah.
going, because I was telling the camera earlier when we first got here yesterday that there's an option to run a 14-inch, but I didn't think I was going to need the extra 2 inches over the 12-inch. Mm-hmm. So that's accurate, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could probably upgrade the leaf pack a little bit and probably change your shackle and hanger combination, and you could probably gain a little bit more out of the rear end. But you know, it all depends on how crazy you're trying to get with the build. Mm-hmm. So, and also your budget too.
Speaking of getting crazy, you said to not get a little too crazy because the drive shaft might need a little bit of alterations to be a little more safe.
just from personal experience, I feel it's best to always upgrade the drive shaft when you're doing your rear suspension, just because obviously you're upgrading to a longer shock package than what the truck came with stock. So there's going to be a lot more plunge and also droop and bump. So that means you're going to have to either shorten your drive shaft or extend it in some cases. In this case, I would recommend getting a two-piece drive shaft with a slip yoke and a stub to accommodate the plunge, because right now what's happening is you have so much shock shaft that it's not able to utilize all of it because it's binding either on the drive shaft, and also it could be the combination of the shackle and hanger. Those would be two things that I would look into to get a little bit more out of the rear suspension. But other than that, I mean, it's definitely a lot more than what you came in with. And then once you start getting a little bit crazier with that suspension, we can add that crossbar to reinforce it. So currently we have it bolted to the bed, and per the instructions it says that you didn't necessarily need to have one, but seeing as you're just doing a mild off-road build right now, you can actually grind this off, do tube across to reinforce your shock towers to make sure that they don't flex in, and especially if you're going to be sending this thing.
Yeah.
So I would recommend doing that later on down the road.
But hey man, thank you so much for everything. Great turnaround time, great price, amazing work from what I could see and everything. So I'm super stoked on it. Try to send more people your way, me and Cole. And hopefully we can get you and whoever you hire next out to the desert with us, do some product testing.
Hell yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back home now, and I can show you guys the kit a little bit more in detail now. And I actually wanted to talk about the company a bit. So I'll show you guys the kit real fast with my trusty little spotlight here. But keep in mind, I am going to be doing an entire video dedicated to this kit and running the truck and talking a lot about it, getting into detail and everything. But I just wanted to show it to you guys real fast and the work that KDM did. So what they did is they cut through this liner with a really tight cut to the new shock location, which is nice. So I get to utilize the wheel well, plastic a little bit more instead of ripping the whole thing out. And let's start from the top. So it cuts through because it bolts into the bed right here, as you guys saw at the shop, just to hold it in from the top, and it's not just welds holding it on. So it's bolted through, that's why it's cut through this little wheel well liner. And then it's welded in. They did a 360 weld. So I've seen a few different things on the internet. People either don't pull the bed off and just weld it from the wheel well on the face of it, but there's a second way to do it where you pull the entire bed off and you get a 360 weld all the way around this thing, which in my mind is a lot more peace of mind and a lot more durable, which I'm happy about. That's the way KDM went. They pulled the bed off, did a 360 weld on it, got it looking nice and pretty and very, very durable. So they fit the entire 12 by 2.5 inch shock in here, and they mounted it down to this new tab that you have to weld on for the kit as well. Get the light on it right there. So now both shocks, left and right, are in the same exact geometry position. Now the stock location, as you know, on these trucks is, I believe this side is facing forward and the driver's side is facing backwards with the shock setup. So now they're both facing on the front end of the axle, which is nice, especially because if you guys recall, that shock was having a problem with hitting one of the brackets on the leaf pack and gouging the shock shaft. Now, both sides are clearing these brackets completely, and I don't have to worry about any gouging. But what I do have to worry about is right here, you can see how close the shock shaft is coming to the tire. KDM measured it to 3/4 of an inch, and that translates to just about a finger's width. As you can see right there, my finger has very, very little room to move around in there, which is just too close for comfort. And no, this is not any fault on Archive Garage or KDM's part. It is actually meant to do that, and it is recommended in the description of that product, the whole relocation kit, that you run wheel spacers. Now, me being the difficult person I am, I tried to see if I could get away without not running wheel spacers with this kit because I didn't want to poke my tire out any more than it is now. I think it looks fantastic how it is now, and I didn't want to run into more rubbing problems. But after seeing how close it is, I'm definitely going to be running these wheel spacers. I will be putting them on in the next couple days in the next video. So Once all is said and done and the spacers are on, I will do a whole video of the truck showing you guys the new kit, showing how it works and X, Y, and Z. So stay tuned for that. But now that you guys have seen the kit, let's talk about the company Archive Garage. So Archive Garage is, to my knowledge, it's a smaller operation. It's not a very big company, not a very big corporation or anything. It's a smaller company, ran out of, I believe, New York. But man, you wouldn't think that by the customer service and by the shipping times they have. Hold on one second. 9:10. So, from what I've gathered from their website, Archive Garage is essentially a one-stop shop for all truck rear end needs as far as suspension components go. Now, I haven't dug too deep into the other makes and models, but as far as Toyota Tacomas, they have everything from a shock relocation kit to shackles and hangers, and I don't know what you want to call them. I call them bump stops, but you know that little like kind of pyramid type rubber bump stop you have sitting on your axle, so when you compress it hits. They have a few different replacements for those. They have cross members or like cross bars for the rear to stiffen up the sides. They have all kinds of stuff. So Archive Garage literally is the one-stop shop for any rear end suspension needs, which I love. What I also love is their shipping time. So I have a reel on my Instagram that you can go see, but essentially when I went to order the product, it said there's a 30-day lead time. And at the time it was like middle of the pandemic, kind of like short supply chain kind of stuff. So I thought, you know what, this is pretty normal. I can deal with a 30-day lead time. I put in my order and I don't remember the exact days, but I think it was like 2 days later, they said your order is shipped, and like 2 more days later, I had the product at my doorstep. So less than a week, I had from order to doorstep, I had my products when they said it was a 30-day lead time. So that is very fast shipping, especially coming from the East Coast. If you know anything about the off-road industry, a lot of the companies are right here in Southern California, so it makes more sense of how fast it gets here. But coming from the East Coast, that is very impressive. Yes, I just checked, they are in Orchard Park, New York. So, East Coast. But aside from the fast shipping, the company has very, very good customer service. Any question I've had about any of their products, I just send them a DM on Instagram and they answer it fairly fast. You don't get that from a lot of companies, to be honest. A lot will say email us, you know, they have a support department or a sales department that you have to deal with. Or if you do send them a DM and they answer through that, they take like hours or days to answer and all this stuff. So it's nice to have a company that's very in tune and in touch with their customers like that. As a matter of fact, remember a little bit, like 2 minutes ago when I said 9:10? That was timestamping. I just sent them a message while recording this video. I said, hey, I have a question about one of your products real quick. That was sent at 9:10 p.m. They sent back at 9:12, only 2 minutes later, ask away, I'll answer tomorrow. Even if they're not answering tonight, they're still answering their DM saying, go ahead and ask, we'll get to it later. That's very impressive. Most companies won't respond after 5 or 6 p.m., you know, normal business hours, but Archive Garage, they're on the East Coast, so they're 3 hours ahead. So 9, 10, 11, it's 12 past midnight over there, and they're still answering their DMs, guys. That is customer service right there at its finest. You can't beat that, you really can't. So from their fantastic products to easy installs on their products to great instructions to great customer service, answering DMs like that, to fast shipping times, all bundled by a very small operation on the opposite coast, and a one-stop shop for all rear end kind of suspension needs. Come on, guys. Who are you gonna go to for anything you need in the rear end of your Tacoma? Archive Garage. Archive Garage. Now, I feel like I've rambled enough and this video might have gone a little too long, but guys, if you need anything for the rear end of your Tacoma, I'm telling you, check them out. It is worth it. I'm gonna be reaching out to them after this video and trying to work on something with them. I really hope I can strike up some sort of deal and work on something with them because I love their products. I love everything about them, as you've heard. And I do want to keep adding things to the rear end of my truck because they have a few more products that I want to test out for you guys and make videos on. That should make the Tacoma a lot better off-road. So guys, thank you so much for sticking through this video. I'm sorry I didn't show a lot of the kit and it was more so of the install aspect of it, but stick around, subscribe, because we will have a video coming out about this kit and off-roading with it. And hopefully if Archive Garage is down, we'll have a lot more products to bring you. So thank you so much for sticking around. And guys, I will catch you in the next one.